بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. أما بعد, I'm doing this reminder khatira at 30,000 feet, um, flying in a Ethiopian Airways 777, one of my favorite planes. And below me is this absolute carpet of clouds. We are heading towards the southern hemisphere, towards Johannesburg in South Africa. And this is kind of rainy season here. Leaving Addis Ababa, the temperature was around, I think, about 10 or 11 degrees Celsius. Johannesburg, by the time we land, will be probably about 2 or 3. So it's fairly cold. Of course, nothing to compare with the colds in Massachusetts. It doesn't get that cold here, obviously, but still, cold is cold. I remind myself anew, one of the best places and ways to think about and to reflect on and learn from lessons for the Akhirah is when you are flying. Because on the one hand, you have what is immediate with you, which is a nice plane, a nice seat, nice food. Ethiopian Airlines has some excellent food, and the best thing I think about Ethiopian is the people. And this whole time, this is my first time on Ethiopian, and my whole flight in the airports, on the plane, interacting with everyone from porters to the staff in the lounges in the airport, the immigration people, security people. I've truly never come across people who seem to be more happy. The genuine warm smiles on the face of everyone. People are extremely hospitable, very, very nice. And despite the fact that this is one of the poorest countries in the world. So it's not a question of, rich and poor, it's a question of the heart and how big the heart is. And so that's why I was thinking to myself, Ethiopia is a country which is, from the Islamic perspective, this is the country of the first Hijrah, Habasha, where Rasulullah SAW sent the first delegation. It was a delegation also, or actually it turned out to be a delegation, but they left Makkah to save themselves. And the logic was that if anything happens and if there is a calamity and if the Muslims in Makkah get wiped out, then it's important to have at least one group of Muslims alive somewhere else, so that Islam can still go forward. It never came to that, of course. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's protection has always been there and will always be there. But therefore, if you are living in a hostile place, leaving that place to go somewhere else with the intention of establishing a safe haven, is very much from the Sirah, from the Sunnah. So this is where they came to. They came to Al-Habasha, which is Abyssinia, Ethiopia. This whole place. So one can imagine. I mean, these were wonderful people, very beautiful people. The two major religions here, one is Eastern Orthodox Christianity, and the other one is Islam, of course. Roughly, informally, roughly, the population is around 50-50, rather, or 40-60. So you see a lot of Muslims, you see a lot of Christians. The interesting thing about the Eastern Orthodox is that they pray, in their prayer looks very much like ours. They do ruku and sujood. And
Ikabalagh intention and then
So therefore, you're surrounded by your own things for your own comfort and so on. But the two things which are primary in our minds, one is in some ways the precariousness of where we are. We are in an environment which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, thanks to His qudrat, that planes were invented and therefore human beings are flying even though they were not created to fly. And the second thing is that very soon this flight will land and this experience will be over. And we will be back on Earth in some other airport, in this case, Johannesburg. So this is a very good reminder for us as far as life is concerned, to say that no matter where we are, how we are, how comfortable we are, and vice versa, how uncomfortable we might be, depending on, it happens in travel all the time. No matter how luxurious your travel might be, there are still things which are not in our control. For example, flight delays. Even if you're flying first class, it's flight delay is a flight delay. So things like that. So whether it's good, bad, or ugly, it will end. And what remains is what is, what you take away from the experience, and then you are in the real environment, which is when you come out of the airport, then you are in the place that you landed in, with all the responsibilities and so on, which might go with that. So also in life, when we think about our lives, we came into this world for a limited period of time, and we will remain here for a limited period of time, and then we return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And therefore, to live this life with that awareness constantly that I will return to Allah. And therefore, I need to be obedient. Therefore, I need to be in a situation where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to be pleased with me when I meet Him. This is extremely important. This is absolutely critically important. And at least for me, travel reminds me of that. For example, if you see, when you pack for your travel, you're packing with the perspective of where you are going. So you might be leaving from a country where it's hot, where you're wearing clothes which are thin, which are airy, but you're going to land in a place which is cold, which will be cold, and therefore you will pack warm clothes. Even though, if you look at your suitcase and say, why you are in Hyderabad, where the temperature is in the 30s, why are you packing a jacket? Or why are you packing a sweater? Because where I'm going, the temperature will be 3, not 30. So this reminds us, this is what life is. Second thing is that you might, obviously you own a lot more than what's in a suitcase, but out of what you own, you pick and choose that which is going to be useful to you in the other place. So the focus always is on the other place, the place I'm going to. And the place I'm going to, I'm so certain that I am going there. I will go there. There is no doubt about that. So all my planning and everything else is with that in mind. I'm going to that place, and therefore I must have what works there, what is useful there, what is beneficial there. That is the overall focus of this. So inshallah, if we live our lives like that, with a focus on the akhirah, it's as simple as that. So what do? I pack for the akhirah. I take what I need for the akhirah. I'm constantly in my mind. The thing is that I'm on a journey. I'm going to the akhirah, and that is where I'm headed. So when we think like that and we focus on that, then inshallah we find that we are we have our uh, bearings correctly. Instead of that, if you get lost in this dunya, you get lost in what's happening here in this world and what's not happening here in this world, then we are in trouble, because it would be just like on a travel. If you are not thinking of the place you're going to land in, then you will not be prepared for that. You will not have the things you need for it. You will not have the documentation, for example, that you might need for it. None of that, and then you find yourself in trouble when you get there. So I remind myself and you to keep this in mind, inshallah. After I land tomorrow, we'll, inshallah, from South Africa, I hope to make some reminders with some very beautiful scenery and stuff. So make dua that this is possible and you will all enjoy it, inshallah. Request you for all your duas. Lots of work to do there. Two seminars where I'm giving, where I'm the keynote, and then of course some other work and so on. So inshallah, I look forward to meeting some of you there in South Africa, and then others, requesting you, all of you, for dua. وصلى الله على نبي الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا رب.